Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, No Man's Sky has become Pokémon in space. Info about the next Rainbow Six Siege operator is leaked, Xbox Series consoles got an automatic FPS Boost mode, and much more. No Man's Sky is the game that keeps giving. Its latest update, Companions, lets you tame, breed, train, and talk to alien lifeforms. You can adopt the wildlife as your sidekick and it'll follow you around, scan for resources, indicate hazards, light up dark areas, mine, and much more. You can even genetically modify your companions to create variants and sell them to other travelers. It's basically Pokémon in space. On top of being able to tame wild animals, you can also accessorize them. Companions can have decals and clothing accessories applied to them, and because of No Man's Sky procedurally generated systems, no two companions will be identical. All animals behave differently. You're also not limited to having just one companion. You can adopt up to 6 creatures at a time. You can also rename them. The companion update also makes a bunch of improvements to the game. In addition to adding the pet system, giant creatures can now be ridden, so if you see a giant creature roaming a planet, feed it and you'll be able to ride it around. Now, before we get to the rest of this story, I've got a quick word from our sponsors. Today's video is sponsored by State of Survival. It's a free-to-play zombie apocalypse real-time strategy game for Android and iOS devices. The goal of the game is to build up your settlement by rescuing troops and fighting off zombie hordes. As you play, you can grow your settlement and customize it. You can also rebuild towns and farms to level up. Rescuing survivors gives you more power and fleshes out your roster of characters. On top of the typical PvE raids, State of Survival also offers PvP and computer versus computer modes. Click the link in the description or pinned comment to download State of Survival. If you use my promo code SOS999, you'll get 1,000 biocaps for free. That's enough to get some daily deals or bundles like more survivors or new heroes. Now personally, I use mine to get more survivors and power through some of the higher level missions. Thanks again to State of Survival for sponsoring this video. And while this update might sound a little minor on the surface, it is one of those many missing link updates that rounds out No Man's Sky experience into something that lives up to the original hype. Being able to interact with the wildlife has been high on the wish list for many players since the game launched. And now that it's finally here, it feels like another piece of the No Man's Sky puzzle is in place. The game's creators might not like it being compared to Minecraft, but it is slowly turning into a game with the same sort of open-ended, player-driven expression and interaction Minecraft pioneered. No Man's Sky's procedurally generated universe felt like a barren wasteland of recycled ideas and mechanics when it first launched, but it's become an interactive playground teeming with life and creative possibilities. Finally, being able to reach out and interact with wildlife feels like a full circle moment. The real question is, what's next for No Man's Sky? Despite everything they've added to the game over the years, there's still so much they could do with it. A proper endgame, more bizarre solar systems, ground battles, expanded story quests. The possibilities are honestly endless. We do know that the developers are working on a new title now and have a smaller team dedicated to maintaining No Man's Sky. That might mean the game isn't getting any earth-shattering updates in the future, but then again, who knows? The next operation for Rainbow Six Siege is being teased ahead of its official reveal. Operation Crimson Heist will add a new operator. The full reveal is scheduled for this Sunday. As for leaks and rumors, right now the going theory is that the new operator will have an explosive drone. Think the RCXD from Black Ops. Of course, that's pure speculation until Ubisoft actually confirms it. In other Rainbow Six news, earlier this week, reports were circulating saying that Quarantine had been renamed to Parasite to distance the game from the pandemic. Ubisoft were quick to say Parasite isn't actually the new name though. It's an internal placeholder for the project. That said, it's very likely that Quarantine will launch with a different name this fall. Ubisoft's CEO said the team was exploring another title in their recent investor call. Microsoft announced a new FPS Boost mode for the Xbox Series consoles. It can automatically double or even quadruple a game's original frame rate. All you have to do is toggle it on and the console takes care of the rest. This is a huge deal for gamers that don't have a next-gen patch to unlock the full potential of the new hardware. Xbox One or 360 games locked to 30 FPS will run at 60 FPS or higher out of the gate. Unfortunately, the list of supported titles is relatively small right now. Far Cry 4, Sniper Elite 3, Watch Dogs 2, UFC 4, and New Super Lucky's Tale are the only supported games. More are on the way, and it wouldn't shock me if the feature eventually supports the vast majority of titles. It'll also be interesting to see if the FPS Boost mode can work on current-gen titles locked to 60 FPS. Running new games at 120 FPS just by flipping a toggle would make the Xbox Series consoles even more attractive when compared to the PlayStation 5. Microsoft have also launched a new program that helps ensure games have good accessibility options. Developers can now submit their games directly to Microsoft for review. Microsoft will evaluate these games and make various suggestions regarding game difficulty, speech-to-text, colorblind mode, input systems, and more. The competitive Call of Duty League saw record growth in its latest season. It kicked off this past weekend and racked up 131,000 peak viewers. In total, the event was watched by 1.3 million unique viewers, which is a 70% increase from last year. While those numbers pale in comparison to the likes of CSGO, League of Legends, or Valorant, they're still very impressive for a franchise with dubious competitive value. As for the regular Call of Duty news, Cold War is having a double XP weekend starting on Friday. It runs until Monday, offering double XP and double Battle Pass XP in both Cold War and Warzone. A damning report about the final days of Google's Stadia game development is making things look even worse than they seemed. The head of Stadia's game division, Phil Harrison, sent an internal email to employees a mere 5 days before Google announced the shutdown. In the email, Harrison says the Stadia team has made great progress building a diverse and talented team and establishing a strong lineup of Stadia exclusive games. Later, he admitted to knowing about the impending shutdown when he sent that email. As for why Google chose to shut down their Stadia game studio and focus exclusively on third-party games, the same report says Microsoft buying up Bethesda's parent company ZeniMax was a factor. It seems like a combination of issues related to the pandemic, how hard it is to make games, the public image of Stadia as a brand, and the technical hurdles associated with building games specifically for streaming. Speaking of troubled game studios, Amazon's New World MMO has been delayed again. It'll now launch in August. It's been delayed in the past, but was scheduled for this spring. Amazon made the most recent delay to get core features ready for launch. A closed beta will be available in July. A recent report made huge claims about toxic workplace culture and inexperienced leadership at Amazon Games. So far, the studios working for Amazon have failed to provide a commercially successful game and have either scrapped or pulled every game but New World. Last week, we reported that a law firm was investigating drift issues with the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller for a potential lawsuit. Today, that firm announced they have filed the suit against Sony. It alleges that Sony internal testers raised concerns about the controller well before launch, and those concerns were ignored. According to the law firm, that constitutes willful negligence. If a ruling finds Sony is at fault for the problem, all PlayStation 5 owners are entitled to a payment. Before we get to our final story today, just a heads up that we will have a new poll running over on the community tab about Battlefield 6. We post all sorts of polls and updates on the community tab, so be sure to check it out. Indie World War I FPS Beyond the Wire just got a big update that adds a new map, new weapons, gameplay changes, and a ton of bug fixes. Based on the first and second Battle of the Marne, Chateau Thierry is a rural map featuring trenches, destroyed towns, forests, a river crossing, and of course, a massive chateau. The new guns are the RSC M1917, Colt Vickers 1915 MG, and 5 new melee weapons. On top of the new content, the update improves performances, fixes some crashes, and updates the quality of many assets. And that wraps it up for Today in Gaming. Again, a big thank you to State of Survival for sponsoring today's video. Download the game with my link below, and don't forget to redeem code SOS999 for 1,000 biocaps. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.